How's it going, everyone? It is Friday, November 22nd, 2024. Let's get into the picks from yesterday. I gave two longs here. The first one was VST, which I took as a day trade. And I have loaded that on the wrong chart. So let's load these up in the right spot. So here's the setup. D1 on VST, new all-time high. Had a little doji sandwich over here. So thought it was a pretty nice move. Now, VST, I took it on a pullback right here at 165. Stock dipped a little bit. And I knew that after the strong move and on a bullish market, we had a pretty good chance to surge higher and make a new high of the day because we didn't have the market. We had a market tailwind. We certainly didn't have any market headwind. So I got into the position at 165. I added it on this break at 167 and been experimenting with this a little bit, but I actually used this AVUAP intraday from this high. And you can see how that provided a little bit of resistance. We broke through that on some good volume on this candle right here. Nice key bar. Broke through, retested it, and then we started to get that lift off. I knew that we were in pretty good shape. So kind of used that little tool there, and it took profits kind of around here, 166.40. Again, had a little bit, maybe I gave up about $1 or so, but in my opinion, the real meat of the move was here, right? That's the meat of the move when the market was really starting to move higher. And getting in around this area, around 162, you would have gotten some really nice profits here, about $5. So this was kind of the better, more ideal entry earlier in the day for these day trades. And then for later in the day, getting in on this pullback, right, getting in just on a little dip on the strong stock, I knew I had a pretty good chance to scratch out of the trade if I was wrong. Other trade I took was Netflix. So I actually took it right here. Intending to be a day trade. Now, stock pulled back on me, held VWAP, and was just kind of compressing and chopping around sideways over here. Now, on Netflix, I actually held this overnight for one reason and one reason only. This daily chart is super, super strong, and this stock is in a very strong trend where you see it pulls back, it chops around for a bit, compresses, and it gets that next leg higher. So, I'm not like, as long as it kind of holds this level, I am pretty good here, and I expect to kind of break out and consolidate. And I actually sized it appropriately where I can actually take a pullback to that 8 EMA if I need to, and then ride it up higher for another leg. So, I'm not like, this stock is a super strong trend, and, there's a pretty good chance that I didn't pick a top over here. I'd be pretty surprised if I picked a top on Netflix. I saw that I think a bank, BOFA, raised their PT on the stock to $1,000. So still holding that. Again, this is not typically something I do with trades, but two important things. One, I sized it knowing that if I needed to take a drawdown, I can. Two, I have a market tailwind and a stock tailwind in my favor. So I know that the chance of me losing on this trade, given enough time, is pretty low, right? I ran out of time yesterday. We're still doing okay today. We're going sideways, but we want to see this stock start to break out and on this next big surge higher, right? And then usually ends in some kind of bearish engulfing candle. If you look at how this stock moves, right? It'll kind of make a really big run, right? Really big run. We got a little bearish engulfing candle, a little bit of fallout through this when you can take your profits. Right, really big run up here, buying climax, bearish engulfing candle, chop around a little bit, right, pull back. So on that pullback, you want to get in on that stock. And then over here, right, we're still kind of dipping, we're still kind of grinding up. So, that's kind of what we're looking for here. There's that little short-term bearish engulf on the trade. Still think that this guy looks pretty good, signal and some scratching on that point over here. Now, other positions we are in, we have, I'm just going to go down the list here alphabetically. We have AFRM, that we got that in over here around 62. That stock is starting to take off. I'm an app today. Got that on the breakout at 322. This stock pulled back to the 8 EMA, tested that breakout level, and now is rallying up higher. Really nice relative strength. And I'm looking to probably get in on this stock on a buy signal or some sort of pullback to Yeah, I really like this move here. Probably pull back to the A VWAP intraday here, and I'll just show you what I'm looking at. So this is the AVWAP, short-term AVWAP from the all-time high. This blue line is not so relevant. And main thing here, here's this prior high this compression that we're chopping around and going sideways. And here's the AVWAP from the earnings. So you can see that we broke through here. Usually after breakthrough, we'll get some sort of retest of this level either today or tomorrow. So I can probably add to this stock on a retest or probably on a handoff. So that's what I'm looking at on apps. So I'm not going to chase it just yet. I missed this initial breakout close to the AVWAP over here, and probably on the surge to get it at 323. I think I have a pretty good chance to get in at my entry price at 322, and even potentially even earlier. So there's a little bearish engulf potentially happening right now. We'll see if this ends up being a little hammer or not. And want to see a little bit of profit taking. Stock over here is at the prior day high, so we might see a little bit of a dip, maybe a bit of a compression. And, if we see that, then I feel comfortable kind of getting in on a little dip over here. So that is app. That's looking pretty good. Dash. Now, we were on high alert. Not high alert, but I was a little bit weary of Dash, considering that this stock did put in this little hammer here testing. But I did mention that, look, it has these little sell-offs and tests, right? That's kind of part of the price action. So what I like about Dash today is that we have been able to recover this level and has some nice relative strength today. So I'd love to see this stock start to break through that level today. And I'm keeping a pretty close eye on it. If it starts to reject, what I may do is I may just scratch out of this trade for the time being. And just, I don't mind waiting on the sidelines. But again, I think the chance of Dash breaking through this level, I think is pretty high. I'm going to give it maybe 70-75% chance of that happening. Again, given the market tailwind. So that's why I feel comfortable holding a good chunk of these ones, even if they're not immediately performing, because I got the market timing right. Now, team is looking pretty good. We're right at this high, and we haven't really been able to knock down. The stock is continuing to grind higher. We're testing this level. I like how we're testing it, and we're not getting knocked down at this level. So here's one test. Here's another test with the new high. Knocked down again. We're just absorbing kind of this pressure, pushing up again a little bit higher. So we're kind of knocking at the door. We're getting a little bit farther each time. And, that's kind of really what I like about this stock. And if I zoom out over here, so it looks like that is the gap on this stock. This blue line represents, and I'm going to maybe, let's just hide some of these so it's a little bit easier to see. So this is the open. This blue line, I think, should be the close. Although, let's see if I snap this right. That's the close. All right, that's the close, and then that's the low. This is the open. That's the high. So let's snap it to, this is for me just kind of evaluating these levels intraday. So if I look at the stock intraday, okay, so looks like, look, here's the close, that's providing some resistance. Here's the open, not really doing a whole lot here, but looks like, it's still coming into play a little bit. And I don't know if the high is going to matter at all or not. Let's see if there's any lines here. So that high looks like it's not really mattering. Although I don't know where my volume went. Where the heck is my volume? Anyways, I can just see it on this chart here. So look, not a ton of volume on this candle. Personally, not really worried about this. Now that if we're able to close above this level, I'm probably going to add my remaining position to team this week on this breakout and add just a quarter there and ride it a little bit higher. Okay, next pick we are in is Twilio. Twilio is looking pretty good, continuing higher from yesterday. Like what I see in the stock, compressing. So, gonna put an alert at the high. Let's look at GoDaddy. GoDaddy, beautiful, again, beautiful grinder, steady, 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 right? Not getting too ahead of itself. This is one that we can really lean on. And when it starts to accelerate, it gets a little bit extended, right? Or pauses for a little bit. That's when we can consider cycling out of that trade. But no problems with GoDaddy. We looked at Netflix. We have Cart. coming up over here. Cart's going to be dead in the water, but you can see how the stock has found support. It may actually set up for a decent pullback entry if it can get through here. Maybe have some room to test the gap and break through there. Amazon is kind of our one dog right now. So got in over here. Stock is pulling back. Now, the only reason I'm really in this is because the market tailwind is nice, and we should see some love in the mega cap tech. But the fact that if we're not really able to rally on a nice market move up, then I'm going to be pretty suspicious, right? The fact that we're closing above here. So I'm going to give it one more day of buying here in the market as we're getting this lift off. And if I'm not able to see a nice green candle here, probably going to just take the loss on this stock. I'm not seeing any signs of real life here. It's starting to flatten out. I need to see some sort of tall bounce on the stock, right? We got to have a tall bounce that gets above this level, gets through this trend line. That's what get me interested. Otherwise, we're still in this bearish trend and we're not responding at all to the market. So don't like that one at all. Haven't added to it, and I don't plan on adding to it. Only adding to those winners. Last one here is Reddit. Beautiful move yesterday. Now, it did sell off a little bit overnight. Let's take a look at that action overnight. So yeah, we had a late day sell-off. I'm just going to look at real quick if there was any news on Reddit. Some people were circulating some news. I'm not super worried on this news because Reddit offering filing shares to sell by 10 cent. Okay, so 10 cents looking to sell some shares. But look, this institutional bid is so strong, right, that there's so many buyers here that this dip should be gobbled up, right? And if it's not really gobbled up, you see how this dip, it wasn't a dip and then a long red candle, right? That would put us on high alert, and we could still scratch out of the trade. This dip is holding, and look, as long as it holds and we climb back up higher, not worried about that, right? Really not too worried about the stock. We're just all that selling pressure getting absorbed. We're kind of stagnating. We're not going anywhere, and that's fine. We need a day to digest those gains. I think we'll go higher. Clearly have a chance, I think, in my opinion, to get to 160. And, really going to hold this guy for a while here until the price action tells me to not hold it. Okay, so market opinion for today. Nothing has changed. Short-term technically, max bullish as I can be. We're still in the beginning of the cycle. I'm riding a whole bunch of swing longs. I have a couple of more that I will call out, but I'm actually not. I didn't call in the YouTube video, but I got CRM on a small pullback over here. And I am actually in a Roblox weekly at the money, which has had a bit of an interesting ride, let me tell you. Yeah, a bit of an interesting ride. But overall, it is a little bit bearish. There's a little bit newsy, and I'm willing to actually take some nice profits on this if it breaks through support over here. So what I'm looking for in Roblox is, all right, look, if it starts to get bullish again, I'll reestablish the weekly at the money. If it doesn't really rally with the market stalls, and this stock starts to roll over, then I will just keep my long puts and ride them down. So just kind of waiting to see how it reacts in this little cycle here. Yeah, I mean, everything else is pretty much the same. Oh, I'm also in IONQ, which I don't think I mentioned in this video, but IONQ, nice steady grinder. You can see that after this pullback here, the price action is getting a little bit choppier. If you look at IONQ on just looking at some of these lines here, right? There's a lot more of these D1 candles coming into play that it just kind of has to chew through. It takes a little bit more churn on these, but has to me a very clear path to the all-time high at 335.90. So I'm going to take some partial gains there. I'm going to wait and see what happens. I have a nice price, but I think that's a pretty good time to take some gains. If it breaks that all-time high very easily, right? If it breaks through on a long green candle with a ton of volume, like something like this, or if a breakthrough on this move, we break through, right? Here's that AVWAP, anchored VWAP. We never look back. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty bullish on that. It's probably going to continue up, but this is a pretty strong move. I don't think it's going to reverse easily, but it's also made a very tall and fast move at this over here, right? It's not like it got over here, compressed, and then breaked out, right? The move is fresh from over here. So there's a lot of buyers who will probably want to take profits at $35 because if they got in $9, $11, $13. Actually, I remember I seeing it $13. I was a damn fool to not take it, but we are where we are. The fact that there's gonna be it's made a pretty big journey up here, so that is going to reduce the chance of a breakout, in my opinion. Now, a couple things that I like today. First tag over here is Airbnb. Made a really big move today into the gap. Has some room to the 200. Let's let this guy load. Yeah, so I'm going to draw this gap over here. Market is looking pretty bullish for today. Why do I think it's bullish? We have flat open and we're preserving all of these gains from yesterday, right? In every other move for this past week, we had a big move and then a sell-off, right? Nice move, sell-off, right? Decent bounce over here, okay bounce, sold off, gap down. So we now have a decent move, and this is a long, choppy compression, not really doing too much, but it tells us that buyers are engaged, sellers are getting a little more passive, knocking it down, bouncing back, knocking it down, bouncing back, knocking it down, bouncing back. So to me, on this flat open, we're right kind of chopping around the prior day's high. I think we have a pretty good chance to at least break through. If we don't break through, then we have a decent chance to at least take some, being an LPTE day. So I think it's very unlikely that we're bearish today. NASDAQ high low is pretty nice. IWM and RSP are looking pretty good. QQQ a little bit softer, so we're not getting the tech strength, but tech is not necessarily bearish. So I like this breakout on IWM. You can see how it's hasn't really confirmed above that level, so we'd want to get it into the gap. But I think the pick for today that I'm going to give is AI. Now, first of all, we have a massive news catalyst that's propelling the stock up. Earnings on 12/9, so we have 2 weeks for this to kind of materialize over here. But this stock breaking through on long-term trend lines and heavy volume after making a crazy run-up right over here. Long breakout. I mean, really haven't traded this stock in about a year. It's been pretty much been complete chop. Now, here's another reason why I like AI. Now, this purple line is that IPO VWAP. You can ignore some of these. Let's hide some of these right here. So all these pink lines are anchored VWAPs from high volume candles. And the message here on these before I hide them is really that, look, all of these, right, there's a whole bunch of little resistance that it forms like the huge wall, right, that the stock struggles to get through unless you have the fuel to get through. Now, we broke through this heavy volume, strong price action, and through a downward sloping trend line. We're also through, well, let's see where this guy comes into play. Okay, I mean, that's not going to come into play for a while, but you got a couple of these longer term trend lines here. If you want to draw it like that, right? That's been broken. If you want to draw this here, right? You can draw these in a couple of ways, but a lot of these trend lines have been broken over here. You can draw this one, right? This has been broken. Right, so a lot of these have been broken. And I like the fact that today, right, we broke through that IPOA VWAP, which had, and this is rough, so let's call it like 35-ish, right? So it broke through 35. So here's 35, right? You can see the breakthrough, the test, the port, and now we're rallying off here. So I like this for a swing. This is probably going to be my pick of the day, and I think it has a pretty strong path. Let's see over here. I'm going to hide these drawings right now and just keep this indicator on. So there's a high volume candle here that has to get through, but if it can get through that, we have a pretty good chance, in my opinion, of getting to $45, even $46. Pretty clear path, and using that IPOA VWAP as our stopping point. The main thing here is that if you see, we broke through that IPOA VWAP on earnings, and then we actually flushed through it pretty quickly the next day. So I like the fact that we broke through, we tested it, and we have a news catalyst, heavy volume. Move is still pretty fresh, right? It didn't make a jump, big move over here. This is a much stronger move in that stock. So AI is going to be the pick of the day. We're going to swing that. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we're going to take a look at how these picks did in the next video. So stay long, and I will see you all on Monday.